Criticism has been given a bad rep. One of my personal missions in life is to convince the world that criticism is not a bad word. In fact, it's a beautiful word. We crave inspiration. And yet, so few people have those in their lives who are willing to answer the call to inspire them that they have to farm it out to the internet.
Fire, lots of fire.
Fire everywhere. No, wait, do you guys like fire? Look at the thing that you're doing well. Figure out why people love it and make sure that the thing you do next is built on that same foundation. There's a whimsy to this place that you guys have fully embraced. You know the conversations that actually re-energize you?
Yeah.
This is one for me.
Well, Will Guidara, it is an honor to have you here at Bolt Farm and to be able to just have this conversation with you. I know we have so many exciting things that we want to talk about, from designing environments that transform, building and running high-performing teams. I had no idea how much pressure it would be to host the king of hospitality. No, really. I'm like, it feels like we're hosting Santa Claus on Christmas, honestly.
So sweet. Dude, we are so happy to be here. From the moment we started seeing those signs as we drove down the windy road and then saw your team smiling at the entrance and then getting to meet you at my room and chair massages and albums in the room, and it's been lovely. One of my favorite things is when you know you're doing it well in a place like this, you have the capacity to put the world on pause, and you've done that for us.
That's beautiful. And spoken like a best-selling author.
Yes.
Putting the world on pause, I've never heard it put that way, but as busy as life is, the origin story for us was when I had the concept for Bolt Farm Treehouse in 2013, it was man, life's the world's getting pretty fast and crazy.
Yeah.
That was over a decade ago, and before it's now at the pace that it is. I guess one of the things that moved us that really resonated as we read your book is the fact that if you can give people time, because they slow down enough to create memories, that, what a gift, because life isn't about just getting money and stuff. It's about the acquisition of memories, quality time that you have with the people that you love.
Yeah, and I think what people misunderstand about that is they say, all right, I'm going to build a beautiful place and people are going to get out of the city or whatever and they're going to come here for some number of days and I've given them time. But that's not enough, because I think it's through every intentional choice you make that compels people to put their phones down and actually lean in to the people that they are there with. That's when you actually give them time, because it's becoming harder and harder, I think. For me, I'm a pretty present person, and it's becoming harder for me, and I know that it's harder for everyone else. It doesn't matter where you are, but just to allow yourself to actually be there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things you guys have done really well, and it's very clear, with a ton of intention. You don't just fall into creating conditions like that. I think they're done through a group of people looking at every moment in an experience and asking themselves, okay, what can we do here? What can we do here? And you've done it really well.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
means so much coming from you.
We've now used Unreasonable Hospitality for our book club twice. It was so good, we just run it back. I think it's the only book we've done twice.
We always have a focus of the quarter, and we wanted to really level up. We've had a Dreamweaver on the team for years now.
I met a new Dreamweaver yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
She was so proud to let me know that she had just been added to the Dreamweaver team.
Yeah, both housekeepers that just really shined.
Yeah.
And had that love and care, and clearly had the creativity and drive. I think the love for people, that's where I'm getting back to. It's just how much love is actually a part of the equation for the people who are great at hospitality.
Yeah, and then they just need to be given an invitation / mandate to run with it. I love when I see that, and I was so excited to see both of them here last night, because it's the coolest job in the world.
Yes.
If you work with people that really believe in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, having now been on both sides of that I can't even decide which side I prefer to be on. It's so fun to be on the receiving end, but it's really fun to be on the giving side of it. When you get to see the look on someone else's face when they receive the gift that you are responsible for giving them, it's magic.
That, what you just said, is one of the reasons why we chose hospitality in the first place, because on our honeymoon, when we were in the treehouse that my dad and I built by hand for our like wedding and honeymoon, we were like, what kind of environment do we want to raise our kids in one day? And the strategy we had was like, let's do something where they can experience the joy of serving others through that, like seeing what how much you actually receive when you give.
Yeah.
That would be like our strategy to combat entitlement. You know what I mean? Like, so let's raise them in the hospitality environment where they can see that on display.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, like it is, like if your job is just like creating these, once in a lifetime sort of experiences where people feel known and seen and valued, like that to me does seem like the best job in hospitality. I feel like too many jobs in the hotel world like have a lot of things in them that people don't enjoy. They don't really want to do the administrative part. They don't really want to do, but like, man, if your job is just like, I want you to wow the socks off of all these guests like 5 times while they're here. And you just get to study these people, know that they're here for their 20th anniversary, to celebrate.
And then it becomes everyone's job too, because then everyone on the team is responsible for listening and trying to pick up on the little things that they know will just make someone feel so very seen and loved. And yeah, it's transformational, I think, truly.
I'm curious too, I wanted to ask you about like the 1% of hospitality, like the best of the best in hospitality. All of that 1% has consumed your book, multiple times. They're like, and you've met them at book signings, like you've gotten to hear where they are in the industry, like sort of what their pain points are, what they're looking for. What are you hearing? Like, because we obviously want to continue to attract the top 1% and
talent.
Yeah, talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny to think of this as the top 1% of hospitality, but I believe this group to be based on the story I'm about to tell. There's a guy that owns 2 UPS stores in Florida, and he really resonated with the book and was trying to figure out how to bring it to life in his environment. And when you think about the people that you pay or ship something or at a UPS store, you're not like,
it's so dreadful.
You're not like, gosh, these are the most hospitable people in the world.
Right.
But I believe everyone has hospitality in them. They just perhaps have not yet worked for someone who's been willing to put in the work to inspire it out of them.
Yeah.
And you can do that through words. You can do that through bestowing hospitality upon them. But I think you can also do it through just getting them hooked. And so this is what he did. He mandated, there's a rule, that everyone during their shift had to comp someone. At some point during my 8-hour shift, you came in to ship something to someone. One of those customers, I had to say, hey, this is with my compliments. Thank you so much for coming in. Now, in the beginning, he told them they had to. But it had like a triple win to it. One, okay, if you're the random customer that walks into a random UPS store and they're like, hey, it's on me today, that just made your day. You talk about like exceeding people's expectations. 2, it was awesome for the people on the team because they felt great when they got that reaction. They're not used to people being so filled with gratitude in that store. And it went from something they had to do to something they got to do, which leads to the 3rd win, which was that every customer got better service, better hospitality, even the ones that didn't receive something. Because, okay, now I only get to do this once. So I'm going to get to know every single person that walks through those doors because I want to make sure that the person I give it to is the one that really either deserves it or just needs it. So these are the things that I get excited when I hear stuff like that. I'll tell you another one. I preach about the power of pre-meal, the daily huddle, and its importance and impact on a team because I just said you can inspire hospitality out of anyone, and one of the best ways to do is just to talk about it, to be passionate about it, because passion inspires passion, and there's no better venue to do that than through a daily huddle. It's easier to do that in some businesses than others. Like a restaurant that is closed between lunch and dinner is easy. There's no one working, right? You're closed. You can get everyone in a circle and do it. But there was this guy, he has a coffee shop in Montreal. The coffee shop, like, there's staggered in times throughout the course of the day. And so there's no moment for everyone to circle up. So I connected with him and he was like, I gotta tell you this thing we're doing and it's so awesome. So I think a daily huddle is a great way to inspire people to care more. It's a great opportunity to invite them to do the same in return. It's a great opportunity for people to come together and genuinely connect and feel like a team before you charge onto the battlefield, all those things. But one of the biggest impacts of it is just like getting people fired up, because this is a human thing. You need to be fired up to do it well. So he couldn't do all the other things, but he could get people fired up, and this is how he did it. He hung a big bell. And so let's say you and I were working, we got there at 6, and we're doing the morning shift, and then you come in at 9. We ring the bell when you walk in and be like, "Hey everyone, welcome him to the shift," or whatever. Now the entire coffee shop filled with customers, they're clapping for you. And so now you're fired up to begin your shift. You might have had a bad morning or a little hungover or something. Now you're like, yeah, let me serve you graciously, right? And so I love hearing people find all these creative little systems to bring the ideas to life. Anyway, that's what I hear from the 1%.
I love that you mentioned systematizing it, because that's something that we're really double clicking on right now and focusing on, because that's required to scale.
Yeah.
And it also makes everyone's jobs easier and more fun, and you just gain efficiency so that you have more time to do the unscalable things. But something that we're trying to work through and overcome is a lot of people just have kind of an averse reaction, especially creatives, to systems. It's the unsexy thing. It's the boring thing. So what are some things that you have found to really get your people on board with it and implementing systems?
Systemizing is, for me, putting intention to intuition. It's seeing something that someone on your team did intuitively and having your eyes opened wide enough to recognize that was so awesome that you should just do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And so like when people react like that, I understand why, because you said you need systems to scale. And when people think about the word scale, it can de-romanticize the entire endeavor, because they think like, all right, Walmart operates at scale, but scaling an idea really just means doing something more consistently well.
Yeah,
and
same magic, more people.
Yeah. And or like same number of people, just more magic for all of them, right? Like you could have the same number of guests coming here every single night, and you have like 2 really awesome people in your team that are doing magical things for a couple of them, and you scale the creativity and the inspiration of those 2 people such that everyone leaves loved. Like if you're a true creative and you truly love hospitality and that's not what you want, then you're a hypocrite, right? And so like at a certain point I'm like, hey, I get it. I understand systemizing feels like it's sucking the love out of it. But if you really love it, it's reckless to not want to.
In the same way that it would be reckless for a pilot to not go through all the pre-flight checklists.
Yeah.
So like the way we view it is that checklists aren't for like jobs where there's a lack of intelligence. I mean, the airline pilots proved that the opposite. It's like actually checklists are for when something is really important. Like if you have a really important job and it's important that, you hit all these things in order to create this incredible experience, then it's not a burden. It's actually a benefit to the guests.
For sure.
On the note of teams, how do you balance being not only the visionary, creative, the person that gets everyone fired up, but also being like the challenger, the driver, the person to hold them accountable? And I'm just curious with you, was that a muscle you had to develop? Did it come naturally, or do you have someone on your team that really owns that role?
I don't think a culture works if you delegate feedback to an individual. I think it needs to be normalized and embraced by everyone on the team in both directions, because, gosh, it is everything. It's one thing to inspire people to want to be great, but unless you create a culture where feedback is the norm, they will not become great. And when I talk about feedback, I'm talking about praise, obviously. When you set high expectations and people meet or exceed those expectations, you better be there to celebrate them. A, because it's just the right thing to do, but B, because praise is contagious, and the moment you get a little bit of it, you want a little bit more, and the moment you see someone else get it, you want a little bit of that yourself. And
ring that bell.
It's the right thing to do. It's the most effective way to reinforce the behavior you want to see more of. But sometimes I think in a lot of organizations that are trying to build great cultures, they focus so much on praise that they overlook the importance of criticism. Because if praise is affirmation, criticism is investment. one of my personal missions in life is to convince the world that criticism is not a bad word. In fact, it's a beautiful word, so long as it's done thoughtfully. Because if you're a good leader and you're hiring good people who want to grow, and you're not coaching them when they fall short, they will not grow. And so you're actually neglecting one of the most important parts of your role as their leader, which is to coach them. And like, if you, I have a trainer that I work with, and if he was too scared to tell me when I wasn't doing a new exercise correctly, I would just be wasting a ton of time doing something that wasn't actually achieving the desired result. But obviously, in order to have it be thoughtful and constructive, it needs to be done in the right way. And so I always talk about rules of criticism. Criticize them in private, right? You can praise in public, but you can't criticize in public. Otherwise, people just like build this wall of shame and they're no longer able to receive the message you're trying to deliver. Criticize the behavior, not the person. We have a tendency to think that when someone's doing something wrong, it's because they're a bad person. They're not. They just probably don't know what right looks like. Criticize consistently. Sometimes we like need to find the energy to have those difficult conversations, but if you only criticize people once in a while, A, it sends a mixed message on whether the behavior is right or wrong, or B, it could inadvertently send the message that you only criticize people when you're in a bad mood. Never criticize with sarcasm. It's something a lot of younger leaders do. They feel like if they make a little bit of a joke of it, it'll go down easier, but then you're just making a joke about something so beautiful that it messes up the entire exchange. And then obviously you need to be just as willing to receive it as you are to give it. I think it's dangerous when the leader delegates criticism to a subordinate, and that's like the good cop, bad cop thing, because then you're reinforcing the notion that criticism is not good. I think you just need to do it well, and then it becomes beautiful. Where people do get it wrong is they'll like read the book, and then one day the leader's like, all right, I'm down for criticism. They just go in the next day and start criticizing everyone. It's like, no. You need to like explain the thing and why it's great before you just immediately start doing it.
Yeah.
I like the metaphor of, it serves an important function, criticism. It's like what pain is to the body. Like it's telling you, hey, something needs attention here. That makes a lot of sense. And we're actually getting new operations facilities where we can do just that and have that stand up. Maybe next year, we can actually use the field guide for Unreasonable Hospitality as part of stand up.
There's a whole bit in that about pre-meal, just because I just think it is so powerful, that meeting. Whatever people can figure out how to do, however much they can actually do, whether it's daily or every other day, I think it's the most important minutes of the week.
Do you give like a breakdown of how to split that time up between teaching and response and sharing? And
plenty of restaurants do pre-meal, but if you actually listen, there's like, all right, we have a new wine by the glass. All right, remember, we've been talking about this. Like, you got to put the plates down in the dish station a little lighter. We're chipping too many plates. Remember, health insurance enrollment starts next Thursday. All right, chef, what's the new special? All this stuff that could easily be communicated via an email. Yeah, there's certain things you need to communicate. Some information needs to be exchanged, but I think people love TED Talks so much because we crave inspiration. And yet, so few people have those in their lives who are willing to answer the call to inspire them that they have to farm it out to the internet. People focus so much on training, how to do something the right way, but training in the absence of inspiration is insufficient.
Whew, that's good.
Like if you know how to do something, but you're not inspired to want to do it that way, then you're going to do it inconsistently well at best. And so I think pre-meal is just an opportunity to like inspire.
Any other sneak peeks from the field guide you want to?
Dude, the field guide is so fun. I'm so excited about it. We made it so much harder than we needed to. Workbooks are kind of a thing that like some of the people that write business books, and you can kind of feel that they just like spit them out a little bit. I just wanted to make it real special, and so I wanted the book Unreasonable Hospitality. If it was a book about hospitality, it needed to itself be inherently hospitable, not like a slog to read. I didn't want it to feel like homework, because there's books that I read on the beach and there's books I learned to enrich myself. And I was like, is there a way that one book could kind of do both of those things? And if Unreasonable Hospitality is the why, the field guide is the how. Like it's a practical building block So it's like inherently more homeworky. But I wanted it to be like the homework in high school that you actually wanted to do. And so it's all about how to build a team. I think hiring has been overcomplicated. It's just about finding good people and just surrounding yourself with good people, and then understanding that as a leader, it's your responsibility to teach them how to do the job. It's about creating a culture of hospitality, and it's creating a culture of feedback, creating a culture of ownership, collaboration, and then repair. I think we don't talk about repair often enough, not just with guest recovery, but also like repair amongst our own team. When you guys are married, you know that every time you have a hard moment, if you repair effectively, you feel closer to one another than you did before the hard moment.
Yeah.
And then it talks about just making magic. I keep on thinking it's done, and then I get more notes from the publisher about like, a little thing here or there. But I think as of today, actually, it's done.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, I can already picture us sitting around and doing that as a team. Will we be able to do the field guide as a standalone, or do we need to do
fully a standalone?
Unreasonable Hospitality for a third time?
No. Like you do the field guide. Like it's really fun, I think, for a group of people to do it together. It's the kind of book that's going to make book club cooler. It's people sharing their own words. I tried to get away with not actually having my name on the book because I want it to genuinely feel like the book of the person who added so many of their own words to it. I didn't get away with that.
Yeah, your publisher was like,
hello.
What are you, nuts?
Like, that's actually not how books work. And I was like, but wouldn't it be cool? And they're like, great, let's move on.
You're a creative, and I respect that about you.
You're creative. Awesome. Great job, Will.
Something I've wondered also is like, what do you say to the people who are inspired in organizations where, they're inspired to show up with Unreasonable Hospitality, but their role actually is an important one, and it's really a very consistent job that doesn't really have much room for creativity. The second time we did Unreasonable Hospitality for our book club, the housekeeper started making things out of towels, like elephants or hearts or whatever, which was like that. It was awesome. You could see the inspiration, but for us, it just felt maybe like a little cruise shippy and like not our brand. So it was hard to be like immediately like, no, stop doing that. Because they're inspired, and so we wanted to shepherd that energy and direct it towards something that is on brand, but we weren't quite sure what to do with that.
How you respond the first time someone comes up with an idea is such a delicate moment, right? Because the way you respond will either like stoke that enthusiasm into a bonfire or extinguish that flame in a way that's very difficult to relight. Sometimes people come up with ideas and you're like, that's just so like really cheesy. I don't want to do that. Have you ever had someone on your team that works for you, you share a new idea, and they're like, I don't like that idea. I don't receive that well unless when they're telling me they don't like an idea, tell me what we should do instead, or how we can do it differently. Sometimes people will come up with a new idea. I'm so excited to like celebrate it, but I just don't like it. I'll be like, hey, okay, I love what you're going for here. Like, don't take this the wrong way. It feels a little cruise shippy to me, but what if we did this instead? Can we brainstorm that together? Because I still want it to be their idea. I wrote, maybe it was a UH Out in the World, this thing I do on Instagram, where I share stories that people have sent to me. This guy wrote in with this story about this experience he had at the Kimpton Hotel. He had his little toothpaste, and he ran out, and it was in the garbage. And he came back, and there was a note with 2 new tubes of toothpaste saying, it looked like you might have needed some more. Hope you're enjoying your stay. Your housekeeper. By the way, that was a system. They had a little toolkit somewhere downstairs where they had little extra things that people might run out of, and the housekeepers were empowered to use them at their discretion, which there's like 5 different things at play there. The creativity to come up with the idea, the empowering of the team to bring it to life, like creating a toolkit that made it super easy to deploy. A place needs a point of view. You can't let people do stuff if it sucks, just in pursuit of empowerment. There is a way to correct the behavior in a way that doesn't dampen the enthusiasm and still allows the replacement idea to be theirs. The question I thought you were going to ask was more about like someone in accounting or something who definitively has no impact on the guest experience. But honestly, the most scalable form of hospitality is to the people that are serving the people that come into the restaurant. The accountant can be hospitable to the people on the team. And the more hospitality we receive, the more inclined we are to pay it forward to other people.
Yeah.
Strong.
When I saw that you're actually, going to inform the stadium plan in Vegas,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So cool.
I as a creative, I thought like, how fun to actually go just to be able to do do your thing, but in a different environment.
I am so excited about this project because how I've seen stadiums evolve and why I didn't actually seek this out. I like kind of stumbled into being a part of this presentation, and I kind of did everything in the presentation that I could to make them say absolutely not, we don't want to work with you, and somehow they decided they did.
Of course they did.
Because I said some stuff that was kind of insulting to how it's normally done.
Yeah.
Which is so many of these stadiums, as they open, it's about getting fancier and fancier and doing more and more. And the reality is, when I go to see a baseball game, I want a hot dog. And I want all the same food that I've been eating at baseball games for the last however many years, 30, 40 years, because you don't go to them very often, and food can be nostalgic, especially in nostalgic environments. And I'm very lucky to get invited to some like beautifully cool experiences at sports games. I end up in the suites and they bring out like a frickin' lobster whatever and caviar. I'm like, there's nothing about me that wants to eat this food here right now. And I just believe reinvention in that specific space, because I think hospitality and reinvention is very specific to every individual experience, because it's not one size fits all. You need to like really try to understand what people want out of an experience and then meet them exactly there. Is less about what you serve people and more about like the way in which you serve it. Honestly, just more fun.
Yeah. Fun over fancy.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think about with, whatever we do here for food. Because people ask us like at happy hours and stuff, like, are you guys going to do a restaurant? And there's nothing inside me that wants to do a traditional restaurant.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much like, let's challenge the status quo. Let's make it high experience. Let's get away from like booths and menus and things like that like are traditionally just make that a hard business. The spoilage. So
Yeah.
like, how can we create an experience that's memorable, that makes the most of this view?
I would do like my riff on the melting pot here. Do you know what the melting pot is?
Yeah, of course. Fondue.
I just think fondue is one of the most cool and connective and communal and engaging experiences in the world, and yet no one does it anymore because the only place that even does it is that place, and no one goes there as much. Although the people that go to the melting pot still love the melting pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to like stick food into other food on sticks here. Like I want to, do you know what I mean? Like there's a whimsy to this place that you guys have fully embraced. It's almost like an Alice in Wonderland vibe. And like I look over there and I see the mirror and the rock and reflect. Like the food needs to do that too. I think in any place, the food, the service, the wine, the design, it's all ingredients in the recipe of human connection. And as much as you have regulars, how often what's the frequency with which someone normally comes?
1 in 4 guests are coming back, returning before they
Within a
leave.
year.
Right, you don't need to serve people the kind of food that they would be willing to eat all the time. Like, what's a meal that would be super fun to have once a year? And do that. The people that are coming here clearly are trusting you to take them on a ride. So fondue could be super fun. I actually would love that. Like, if we were doing fondue right now, I would lose it. But it doesn't
Team.
No, but it doesn't need to be that. I'm just saying, like, I think it's important to understand who you are and what are the unique circumstances that you're operating within. You're about connection. You've created a place that is filled with whimsy. And on average, at most, you're serving guests once a year. If you can use those 3 things as the driving force, then I think you're going to create something pretty awesome.
The items that we do serve, like we want to have we want to do a few things like extraordinarily well and make everything an experience. So, the cocktail is going to be revealed to you and there's going to be smoke coming out of it. Like some of that stuff that's like you would see in Vegas, because like that's a hospitality hotspot where it's really competitive. But so we just want to apply that own pressure to us, where the vessel for the food is part of the show.
Like, I love stuff like that. And I think that done thoughtfully, it can be so impactful. The line you need to be careful on with that stuff is like, look at me, look at the stuff I can do. And then that's it. And now it's really about like me to you, as opposed to creating the things that are about what happens there after I leave. Now that said, it's still really fun to do a few of those things. I would just be careful about doing too many of them, that you make dinner into a show. When at a place like this, the table, I mean, I'm looking at two people in a hot spring right now. They're sitting next to each other looking at that view. You created a place where people are inclined to sit next to each other, gazing at this beautiful vista. The table is one of those moments where they're actually like looking at each other.
Yeah.
That's a really good call out, because up until this point, the only food that we offered was our pizza experience.
Yeah.
People love it.
Yeah.
And it's simple.
I actually smell it right now.
You have dough.
I know, I can smell it too.
Getting your hands
Like,
dirty.
like as you said
Really?
it, I'm like, there it is.
Yeah. But
No, and we're doing that because it's about like, it's fun,
interactive.
but it's not you guys saying, look what we can do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's you guys saying, hey, look what you can do together.
Yeah, here are the ingredients for the art of slow living and quality time and doing something. But
I think it's always important to like look at the thing that you're doing well, figure out why people love it, and make sure that the thing you do next is built on that same foundation.
something that was inspired by your book, we created a whole pack of cards, called Reconnect cards. So it was like 52 different conversation starters for couples. We wrote the questions, and now that became part of...
Wait, are those in the room?
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
Yes, and I don't think we do a good enough job of like letting it
I
be known
saw
that
it,
like,
but I didn't realize you guys...
like
Yeah,
we didn't just like
right.
buy these off some service. It's like, no, we created these because
Oh,
this is
that's
how much
fun.
we believe in the power of connection. And our philosophy is if we're going to do any kind of activity, anything at all, like we want people to be able to laugh and like remember why they got together in the first place. For activities and things, if like they can learn something through that activity, even better if it's about the other person.
Yeah.
So like with those conversation cards, it was, you know, some of them are like taking you down memory lane, or what's like an early memory of us, or, you know, it's things that just really
we're gonna play
spark.
that. I'm gonna
you know.
grab those.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
We're releasing a deck of cards in the fall called Dialogues. And it's where playing cards and conversation decks meet. Because one of the things I've found is we have conversation decks, and I use them once in a while when I have like the right people. I'm like, all right, guys, let's go deep. But 80% of the time, I'm playing hearts or spades or cribbage with my dad, or, you know, normal card games. And in the conversation decks, we have like deep, awesome conversations like the ones you're creating for the people that are here. Where here is where you would actually like, you feel called to use them. Whereas at home, I found that like, you know, it's like some of my guys hanging out, and I'm like, you guys want to do a conversation deck? It's like a record screen. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're about to release these things. They're called Dialogues, and they're a normal deck of playing cards. But on the jacks, queens, kings, and aces, there are 2 questions. And there's 2 decks of cards. One's called Break the Ice, one called Deep Connection. And so we'll be playing any sort of card game. And right before we play the next hand, I'll be like, all right, jacks. So we're playing the card game the way we'd always play it. But if I play the jack, I need to answer the question on that card. And we've been playing it as a team, and it is so great because it's like enhancing the connectivity of like these nights that can be so consumed by small talk alone.
Yeah.
I love the different levels too, the 2 packs.
Yeah.
And preventing the combustion that can happen in highly competitive families around card games.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Love moment.
My wife and I don't play cards unless we're on the same team.
Same for me, my brother.
Yeah, they are so competitive.
One way that I thought would be, like, because we have this farm background, like grew up growing our own food, and everyone in my family has done that for generations. What I remember from that experience is like, you know, working in the garden and shucking corn and all that, but like sitting down at sort of the banquet table with everyone. And unlike a menu where it's like, look at all this good stuff, I'm here, I hope I make the right decision, it's like, you just show up.
Yeah.
And it's something for everyone. How cool would it be to combine that nostalgia with also data that we have on our guests, because we know in some cases we know like what their occupation is, or the season of life, or how many years they're celebrating as a couple, things like that. So that could be invisible to them. Like they just think, I'm imagining they would show up with a little bit of apprehension, like this is like a community table. I'm not sure if I want to have a community touch point on this romantic getaway. But then they meet new friends. We can kind of hopefully predict that these people are going to really hit it off. You know what I mean? So I think we can go from like low expectations to absolute new relationships with the developer. Keep up.
Like what's the guest count?
Could be 44 on a full day.
Yeah,
right?
And then by the end of the year, we'll have 33, so 66.
So, couple big tables.
A couple big tables.
Yeah.
Early dinner and a later one, maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But I mean, that obviously breaks a lot of norms of like,
for the couple.
It's food, but you don't have a choice of what
I
you
think that's
order.
cool though, because you guys are good. You're getting so good at learning about people that as long as you like know what people really don't like to eat, then you can just tailor menus around it.
We're about to launch our own app, and so that could be part of the menu. Is like you get some options.
Or just say like, hey, before you come down here, are there any ingredients that you really don't like? It's kind of a question that especially when you're filling it out on a form, you're not embarrassed to write it down.
True. Yeah.
And then it's so comforting. You're like, never gonna get
All
that.
the things I like and nothing I hate.
I never need to worry about getting that. That's cool. I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys.
And fire, lots of fire.
Yeah.
Fire everywhere.
Yeah.
No, wait, do you guys like fire?
So seriously, with this wellness haven, when I talk about vision and like I'm talking to the construction crew, I'm like, I want to have like fire, pillars of fire, whatever, and a big dreamer. And then we get into the construction development. I'm like, where's the propane lines for the fire? And they were like, you were serious about that? I was like, yeah, I'm serious about that.
You're like, dude,
like,
don't ever question my love for fire.
We have all the elements here.
What about I want pillars of fire sounded like a joke?
Rock, water, fire.
Yes.
Well, this has been great, man. Thank you so much for the time here.
It's such
Great
a
conversation, too.
I was feeling a little tired when I got here, and the conversations that like actually re-energize you.
Yeah.
This was one for me.
Wow.
So thank you.
Incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It means so much.
You guys,
Yeah.
congrats.
Yeah.
On everything.
Thank you.
You as well.
Congrats to everyone that comes here.